Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. Once again, so glad to be hosting another episode of this great show that we bring to you day after day after day after day. Well, that's not true. We bring you a lot of days. We do bring a lot of days. We're on a roll lately. Pedro and I are trying to keep the frequency up so we can keep you viewers entertained and grow the channel. But it didn't work. It didn't work. Our channel is not growing. It grew like crazy at the beginning of the year because we got some viral stuff. Now it's inching along. Anyway, it's all up, so that's good. And I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube. It says we have one viewer. This is normally where I'd say welcome to my co-host here, but he's having computer problems. He's rebooting his systems. His servers are not serving. His streamers are not streaming. So Pedro will be with us in a minute. But as usual, I always like to say I got a good show for you. Let's see if we can get... what's going on there. Feedbacking into myself. Oh, it's exciting here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, welcome to everyone watching on X. We really appreciate it. I came over before the show. I was listening to my friend Flo's X Spaces, Canadian crypto Canadians, part of the blockchain. I think he's calling it blockchain media now. Met Flo at the Futurist Conference last year in person, and became good friends with him because we kind of do similar things. He does a lot of recorded stuff. I do a lot of live stuff. And then we met again. This time had a good time at the conference with the gentleman from Max Chain who was on here yesterday. But his X-Base is pretty good. Lots of good economic alpha, that type of stuff. So if you see in the recommendations that you get on Twitter or other social media platforms, in which you see Blockchain North, I think there might be now called Blockchain Media, give them a follow. Anyway, thank you to Dara Lawton coming to us today. Why didn't the comments come up? There we go. Nvidia employees, 76% reported being a millionaire, and 1 out of every 3 employees claim to have a net worth over $20 million. It's really unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And you know what? I had the show graphic here. In the text, it says the casino, Nvidia casino. But on the picture, I use Ponzi here. And I use that for a reason. Because I don't believe this. I believe that something is wrong. And I don't believe that the numbers can just go crazy like that. I do know that they are one of the only manufacturers of GPUs. I do know the AI markets are buying things like crazy. But I do know that big companies play with numbers to make them look better. Even small ones do. I worked for a small company and I was in charge of inventory reports and all that type of stuff. The ERP system, and the boss would come in and say, hey, no, these things need to happen in this month and these things need to happen in that month. And I'm like, but that's not when they happen. And he'd be like, that's when they need to happen though, because that's what the bank wants to see. And I'm like, but that's not right. Sure enough, it wasn't right. The bank figured it out and yanked the credit line they had. Because banks employ people like me. I was the one creating them. They employed people to audit them. Anyway, I got to talk about that with Nvidia. I guess I'm just going to get straight into this. Because we can see that the market was trying to push back up over to 61,000, coming back off its flash crash to 58. And it got rejected. It's heading back down. Just, I don't mean crashing. I just mean going down. They're hoping. Everyone was hoping for a breakthrough past 61,000. Didn't happen. I'll let Pedro talk about it. I'll let Pedro talk about it. But with Nvidia, it's too much. It's too. Let me try and bring this up here. And where did that article go? Search, switch to tab. Well, this is weird. I'm looking at one. Up right. Nvidia announces financial results for first quarter fiscal 2025. I don't know about this. Anyway, the point is that they grew like crazy. Everybody knew they were, because people like Elon Musk are buying tons of their super high-end machines, throwing money at them, throwing orders at them. Now, when do companies make money? In practicality, all companies are on the what's called the accrual method for accounting, and it means that you recognize revenue and things like that when you do internal processes, like send out the invoice, when you mark as getting paid for things. And I was in manufacturing for a long time. I don't have any idea how they doubled their manufacturing in a month. I mean, they didn't double it in just a month. I mean, they spent some time ramping up, obviously. But think about iPhones. iPhones sell bazillion iPhones. Everybody knows their whole supply chain, where everybody works, all the people that at Foxconn and other contractors that build these things for Apple. Where's the big Nvidia contracting bucket? Where are all those people? I mean, they just announced, they have factories all over the place, but to double is a little much. Anyway, I'm going to try and see if I can get, if Pedro's in here yet. No, Pedro's not in here yet. So the question is, Nvidia announces financial results for second quarter fiscal 20. Why does it say 2025? Opera demand remains strong, and the anticipation for Blackwell is incredible. Oh, and I think I hear someone coming in the background there. All right, we'll take a break from talking about Nvidia right now, because this is, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the little boxes.
Oh, yeah. It's a movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host Pedro Garcia is in the house. Pedro, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, my friend? How are you? Hey, things are well. I had a little issue with my PC. First, I probably should have paid attention to the fact that I was having issues coming on the Zach Humphreys Breakfast Club. I'm trying to speak, and then I was like, what is going on? And then my chart started messing up, and then before you know, I had to shut everything down.
You know what? TradingView is having issues today. Bunch of online guys are talking about the chart's not working right today.
I wonder if, dude, so before we had the big crash in 2008, a lot of the day trader people were saying the same thing. I remember hearing this because one of the guys, I'm serious, like one of the biggest drops that we saw, the guy was like, I don't know why I'm trying to put the short on and I can't put it on. And I remember I was a 28-year-old like fledgling guy in the financial market stuff and trying to sell mutual funds, and the guy, I remember one of the senior rep guys was like, I can't, whatever reason, I can't, it's not letting me put this short on, and I'm trying to put puts on, and then sure enough, like the next day, like later that day and that evening, things started falling apart, and that day everything just dropped. So I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but I just think it's interesting to sit there and who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, the market just rejected off of its attempt to recover all the losses from the past 2 days. And
Yeah, well,
so maybe this is the start of going all the way back down to the 50 zone that you were talking about.
potentially. It's interesting that I'm looking at the S&P 500 right now, and the S&P 500 is like definitely showing a lot of strength. I mean, we saw the rally come in today, went sideways for a little bit, but it basically went up, 30 points. So 30 to 40 points was a good run. I caught a little bit of it going up as we pulled back around 10:15. So it's kind of a nice little thing catching it. But apart from that, it's
what chart is that? What time frame?
this is the 5-minute. And obviously this is not my trading platform, but this
What is that change in volume? Oh, that is the open.
Yeah, this is the open. Yeah, you can see like here's the open every single day. Like this is the night session. This is pre-market session here. Between
why do they even open and close anymore? Because you can trade it 24 hours. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think there's two reasons. One of the reasons is simply that, excuse me, that we need to sleep and people need to be able to like go through it.
Tell that to Bitcoin.
Well, Bitcoin is done a different way. It started on itself. It's a decentralized system that doesn't need to continually have itself update, right? Whereas the markets need to continually update because you have order flow that comes in, and it was built off a completely different system. So
no, I get that, but I mean, if it can be traded, clearly there's trading going 24 hours a day. Why does it end at a particular time? Why do people put in a big order at midnight?
I think primarily because just habit. I mean, in all reality, maybe just potentially habit, and we know that the institutions, those guys like to party, like just straight up, like they have all this money, so they go into, there's a night session, they don't have to worry about things, hopefully, so they get all coked up and get all crazy and
wear tuxedo t-shirts because I like to party.
Hate to say it, but they really do. You hear about all these guys, still not necessarily as much now, but you hear, I forget the guy's name. He's stepped away from the industry, but he is a trader out of I think he traded for UBS or some other major institution, and he got out after about 4 years saying this is just too crazy. But he was one of their top traders, and he was saying, dude, the majority of the people there at night just completely go coked out, party all night, and then they come in and then they trade, and you're like, but it's like guys who go to war too. These are the same mentality guys who are like just uber smart, but in the same sense they're just ruthless. They're like, you have to have a certain mindset, to trade. You can't just, your mind has to be able to flip and be very dextile, have a lot of dexterity in itself to be able to sit there and play, go back and forth, and then at the same time have the conviction basically to take the keep taking the shot, so really interesting.
Trying to get sorry, Pedro, I gotta get some did zero social media. We're on the air here, so I need to spend a minute or so doing that.
Absolutely.
Why don't we talk about little BTC?
BTC, aka Mr. Beast, aka Taylor Swift, aka Swifties. For all of our guys out there who are watching us, good to have you guys. But the biggest key that I always look at is that where is this market really wants to hit? So as I look at this economy I've called Bitcoin, and a lot of buyers and sellers stepping in, we're seeing these ideas of this huge push up, right? And we did see a fairly big amount of buyers come in all reality. We really did a few, but when you look at the large scale of things, with this supposedly huge day pushing up from the lows here that we're seeing, is it enough to keep us going? And I don't know. I don't think so. I think we need to see quite a bit amount really come in to push this market out. But if you guys could and the other part is, I forgot, here we go, boom. let me copy this guy here real quick. When I think,
Pedro, I'm listening to you, but I got my Telegram screen open up, sending this around. What's the volume been like today? Is it dropping off again, or is it?
yeah, so we're definitely seeing the sellers kind of step in. So we saw at the open right around, like I said, like 6, 9:30ish. We saw sellers come in, push the market up, right? So we saw the institutions pushing this market up at the open here, and we'll go through it. Pre-market was fairly good. We saw good volume coming in as we were pushing up. As we started to bounce off of that hourly chart here, which is this right here, you could see how this started to push things as it moved up. So, but as I always say, I want to see, demand wicks as we are pushing up, and I don't really see a lot of demand wicks as we're coming up. So to me, it kind of screams that it wants a reverse. Now, granted, we did have a fair good amount of, like I said, buy volume stepping in as we were pushing the market up, but again, there's not a lot of defense. So SMAs are a good way. They are a dynamic zone to actually hold price. As the market keeps moving, we're able to sit there and see as it pushes forward. But on the back end, for myself, I always look at, are we going down to go up? Are we going up to go down? And to me, it's speaking that we're basically going up to go down. And so we had a few days of the market, right? So this is Sunday. The market goes up. And in crypto, the market starts on Sunday, right? So we saw it go up to go down to come back up.
Starts. It starts. It never ends.
Yeah, right, as we were saying. Well, meaning the new week starts. So from this point of the candle status, so you can sit there and see that we pushed up to go down. It's going to be really interesting to see as we now move forward. Now, my biggest key is are we going to come test these lower levels of that 53, 52 area? I think we are. I think we came down to our zone here, which is between that 57 to 54 area. And I think it wants to pick up more here. So if we were going to continue, we would have seen this thing kind of come up higher. So I'm going to have to wait and see as we move forward. I think we're going to close below the monthly 8-period moving average. And when that happens, we should see then it go up to go down to see a lower area to capture those profits or shorts, as they come into it.
Welcome, Timothy Fuentes. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't checked in on your project, Trump's hair. In a while. Hope it's doing well.
How is hair doing?
I don't know. I literally haven't checked in on it. But with is it setting up? Yesterday we talked about how you like to see the beginning of the month go down, so the end of the month it's up. Beginning of the week down, end of the week up. Is it following that pattern this week again?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, we went up to go down to now we're kind of coming up towards the middle. So it all depends. Are we coming up because it's losing out on buyers as we're going down, right? Because remember, I always talk about if we're going to go down, we need buyers to step in, right? And you're asking, well, why? Because we need the sellers to have an equal trade with them. And so if buyers are stopping, then it will most likely stop the shorters. So now they're pushing up. And so I always say, do we have enough seller or do we have enough buyers to keep the selling going? And it looks like it kind of petered out here. So we saw some buyers stepping in, some more buyers stepping in, but not enough. So now they need to push the market up to get buyers stepping in to then push it. So what do I look when I see that? I want to first see it go down to go up. And we saw this day today. It was a pretty strong day up. So people may think, oh, we're going up. And then what happens is the institutions are filling their shorts to drop it. Potentially. So it could potentially hit that 61.94 or 61.946 area right here, and then see again another sell-off continue down into this lower level for the week. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what actually happens.
It was really interesting to see was the liquidations that happened what's it? 2 days now? 2 days ago, when it dropped down to just flashed from 63 down to 58.
Say that again.
When the market dumped, was it? I can't remember if it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Every day blends together. When it dumped down to 58.
Yep.
Now, which time frame chart on there? You're confusing me on this.
No, this is a daily chart. Yeah. So this is
okay.
Yeah.
So that the liquid, that big red candle there. Okay, I got you. Sorry, I got a little goofed up. That big red candle liquidated, I think one article said $450 million worth of longs. One of which was my account, because I got sloppy and forgot to put which I always talk about. Make sure you have a stop in, and lost my $25. Not happy about that.
It happens, you know what I'm saying? But on the back end, as we're trading this, right? Like, so you've seen a sell-off. So what we want to do...
Read the comments.
What's up? I'm missing it. Give me a second. I think it's my computer is doing something, so I'm afraid
it's on my feed. My feed to you. Studio feed.
Oh, so that's the thing. Remember, you haven't sent me the new updated one for that.
No, I don't mean the comment section. I just meant the DYOR Studio.
Oh, give me 1 second.
You can see the comments on the DYOR Studio.
My son, I have came out. No, do that again. My son, I have came out. My son, I have came out my cave once again for my favorite show. Oh, Jesus. Yes. Thank you. That is epic, dude. I love that. It's so funny, dude. That is good.
One of these days, like, I don't know, sometime 1,000 years from now, 2,000 years ago, like, God's actually going to show himself. Boom, I'm here. Oh.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to say, where were you? We needed your help. He said, I sent my son a bunch of times, but he got distracted by these guys on DYOR Media. So he couldn't. Sorry. The last guy I sent walked around and ended up on a cross. This guy ended up going around and listening to crypto and losing all his money. Sorry, it's been 1,000 years. I'm God. I got a lot of things to do.
That's funny, dude. That's so funny. What's up, Charles? Good to see you, bud. What's up, man? What's up? But on a serious
note, good morning,
note,
Chuck. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it on this slow day.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a guy call me, because I've told you, like, I've done insurance, right? Life insurance and stuff like that. So,
yep.
I had this guy call me for a reinsurance company. Basically, what reinsurance is when let's say you have a very large. Oh, you know what reinsurance is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I worked for Aon for a while.
Okay. So a buddy, so I'll explain it to our viewers. So reinsurance is when you have, let's say, a very large policy, and like you need money now. So what happens is you sell your policy for, let's say, 50% of it. And so let's say if you have let's say you have like $500,000, they'll pay you out $250,000. And then what they do is they'll go through, and when you die, they collect the rest of the $250,000. So it's called reinsurance, right? They're reissuing the insurance, but they keep the things that fall out. And if you're on hard times, let's say your business you need to generate money for your business or whatever, a lot of people will do that. And so they pay your premium, they take care of that. And based off the stipulations, some people come out ahead, right? And
I'm used to reinsurance. Like when insurance companies take out insurance, like bookies laying off a bet.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I've had whole life policies in the past in which I borrowed against when I was starting companies and that type of stuff for home construction.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of the Northwest Mutual group since I was born.
Your parents got it.
Yeah, my son is too. He's had a policy since the day he's born, and it grows at 8% per year.
Yeah, dude, those things, like, people don't like. Some of those things are phenomenal. Like, you sit there, but you've got to get in when it's early, and you just keep the policy going. How much did you put on them? Like 20,000?
Oh no, it's much more than that. I'm sure multi-million-dollar policy. Oh no, this is some serious shit. I think that I'm not going to discuss that on the air, but it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say your son.
It was a. It's it's used as an estate planning.
Yep.
Tool.
Yep.
And a multi-generational one. So that's all I'll say about that, as it relates to us here. But that it is amazing.
Yeah, it takes care of itself. But you just got to make sure you keep it going.
Well, Jesus's one is from the hood. He had to help his moms. When the moms is used in the world, the plural. No, someone got a little street in them.
Mom.
To get a new policy for a home. Yeah, it's hard. My parents live in Florida, and their insurance, it's basically like, well, if a nuclear war happens and your house is completely destroyed, maybe you can collect some, but we're going to invoke active war anyway, and everyone's dead, so good luck collecting. I mean, it basically has to like be a single arson fire for you to be able to collect anything in Florida. I think in Florida only has 2 insurance companies now for homes. Both of them are like backed by the state, because insurance companies are like, we just get blown out down there, man. Mortgage company requires you have insurance, and the insurance company says, we're not going to insure you because we're at our limit. We only have so much money. We only have the ability to lay off in reinsurance so much. And then they're like, all right, well, you get a hurricane deductible. What's the hurricane deductible? $250,000.
Yeah.
How about that? It's people in Fort Myers when that storm came through. Was it last year or 2 years ago? So many people just got wiped out. Gone. Because insurance is like, we got a $250,000 deductible. Crazy.
It very much is, dude. I think what's interesting is when we look at the current state, we know that there's an issue, there's a problem here, but also in the same sense, we also see that like the alternative is almost a tyrannical like sense of, okay, we're going to reestablish it and then put guardrails on everybody, which then will stifle the progression that's happening. So it's almost scary in that aspect of like, can't there be something in the middle or a balance? We're swinging. I mean, I'm afraid like legitly, and this sounds kind of crazy, but we might end up in this financial scholar talk about kind of big macro thought, like we're talking like century macro thought. He was sitting there talking about how we could potentially end up going into another not a black plague, but another dark time in history because of where we're sitting. Either this is going to be a ginormous spring forward or another just implosion in on itself of civilization. So it's like, I was like, oh, that's depressing. Like, thanks, dude. Like,
all you got, if something bad happens, just people are gonna trade in bourbon and bullets. Yeah, and say, what? That's the most valuable stuff in the planet. Gold? Nope, it's gonna be bourbon and whatever other hooch you can make. Dude, anyway, Jesus says, Tom, can you say Infineon online? You make it sound so classy. Well, I've been corrected by Sean how to say it. I shouldn't say corrected. I've been informed. But I still like to say Infineon. I'm investing in Infineon. And I thought I had that on the screen. Did not. Tim says, we love insurance in Florida. It's because he's charging the insurance companies to fix people's houses. That's it.
Oh, yes. That's actually a friend of mine used to do door-to-door work, or they'd go, and whenever, he would work for 4 months out of his year, 6 months out of his year, and then he would make so much money, like doing door-to-door, doing that. Like, but he goes, it's hard work. Like, you're working 10, 12-hour days, but you're bringing in, each sale, man, is like $30,000, $40,000. I mean, the guy was making crazy amount of money. He actually retired.
Favor, thank you for joining the show. Have you guys seen the new ETH project on fire now? Hair of Trump. Yes. Our good friend Tim Fountain here has told us all about it. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. It's all good. It's all good. Interrupt away. But it's just one of those things I think where, I don't know. We'll see.
A Weibo token is here in the house. I don't know which one of you guys is it, but they've been good to us.
Yes, they are.
By continuously bringing viewers, commenting, all that stuff helps us out.
Absolutely.
And I think they're doing a good job over there. I'm not invested in their token now. I should have bought it a long time ago, but I didn't. And they're not paying me to say this, but they're a good group of guys. Pedro, we're going to have them on the show perhaps next week. Just for
nice.
10 minutes to talk about their project. And we were talking about, he missed a comment about theirs yesterday. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys have been good to us.
Yes,
Let's have you on the show to talk about your project. So hopefully we can get a time on where you can come on and give us the goods about Weibo.
Weibo. Also, I forgot to mention to you. So I spoke with the CEO of, and my brain is blanking. What is up with my brain, dude? This is actually kind of scary for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Right? Like, I'm like, why is...
You know what? I'm missing my police.
Crimson Creator, their CEO, we're actually bringing on Monday. I forgot to let you know. After post-launch, I was able to reach and talk to them. And so I said, we'd love to have you come on and talk about just the hardships of launching a project. And so she's going to be coming on and kind of talk about what's happening, what things are going, and how things are going. And so
on camera?
On camera. Yes. So she's an intelligent, brilliant, beautiful, cool woman who is definitely got, neck deep into crypto. So I'm impressed. I've been impressed watching her just kind of do what she's been doing. So really interesting. And then she comes on and she brings pretty big alpha on the breakfast show with Zach Humphreys. So really interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there, so we'll see. But I forgot to let you know that. So this is actually Tom's first time hearing that. Just to give you a heads up.
Good, that's good. I like filling up the schedule. Maybe next week we can have Chris, our Washington, D.C. bureau chief.
Yes, bring him on, dude. All the stuff that's going on.
Have a little panel discussion too.
Yeah.
About stuff. Anyway, let's take a quick, while we got a few viewers here, let's take a quick break to circle back to what I was talking about earlier with the, as I call it here, the Nvidia Ponzi scheme. Pedro and I frequently use the term infinite money machine. The infinite money machine is like Michael Saylor. He has the infinite money machine. He uses his company to buy Bitcoin, sells his company stock, or takes loans out against it. Buys Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin goes up. His company's worth more. The shares are worth more. And he's even more rich, even though he sold shares. And right now, Nvidia is kind of doing the same thing. Jensen, the CEO, founder, chairman, whatever, he can sell however much stock he wants, and the stock doubles. and he gets more billions. And Dara, earlier you referenced that is it potentially fraud, and no, that's not what I was leading to. I was having a discussion about how companies massage numbers. What I was referring to was over massaging, or as I call the Soviet reporting system.
Are we talking about those special massage parlors?
No, talking massaging numbers. Well,
depends.
It'd be the same, but to the point where there's so much massaging going on that the financial people, the accounting department, the audit oversight committee, the CFO, the independent, not independent really, but the big four accounting firm that audits them, they get used to seeing the massage numbers, and nobody wants to vary from that. And so they keep, we got to do this. We got to do this. It's got to double. And the whole market knows it. Like the whole market knows all of Nvidia's numbers and stuff like that. And you can tell because it was so priced in yesterday when they did their earnings call that the stock actually dropped after record billions being made, profits, all this kind of stuff. It would send any other stock's price into just absolute orbit. But Nvidia stock is already in orbit. I mean, what was it, a couple of months ago? It like tripled in like a week or something like that, or something crazy.
Yeah, it was something.
And so the market is this stock, anything linked to the United States stock market or stocks and equities in general worldwide, is the most efficient market. There's so many people analyzing it. There's so many people trying to figure out what's going on. They price everything into the market.
Absolutely.
And so their stock actually dropped, which was amazing. But my question isn't so much that, I mean, they can't keep it up. I mean, Elon Musk can only give them so many billions. The question is, did they actually sell that many new stuff? And did they ship that? You know, I always like, when I listen to earnings calls, I like the guys that cut, you know, I don't like the guys, the CFOs that are like, earnings before taxes, interest, probably EBITDA this, and one-time charges, and blah, 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 blah. All of that is smoke and mirror bullshit for hiding stuff that you're not good at. Specifically selling stuff or making stuff. Manufacturing, you know, a lot of you guys listening have grown up not in the manufacturing era. I grew up in the manufacturing era and owned a manufacturing company and worked for manufacturing companies. Manufacturing is very difficult. For everyone that works at a financial firm or any person, service firm, does media shit like me now and Pedro, do your hardest job that you can. You figure shit out. You got all this stuff to do, blah, 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 blah. And then add on top of that, you got to make sure a room behind you builds things correctly and sells them and get paid for them. And you got to, when you build things that have metal in them, I mean, it's like you got to buy steel, you got to get it plated, you got to blah, 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 you got to do all this kind of stuff. Where is this giant swell of supply chain for Nvidia coming from? That's what I want to know. Where is that? How can they? Oh, look, YouTube put me on in the corner on the TV on the side. Hi, Tom.
You know what? It's interesting because the reality is this is, you know, based off of the amount of, because I mean everything, you know, if I know that let's say I'm a small a minor, right? Because there's really, all there really are is just two industries in the world, right? And in the reality, it's mining and manufacturing, and everything else is ancillary to those two things,
right?
Like, I mean, like that's it. Like, either you're in a mining company or you're in manufacturing,
right?
And everything
Natural
else,
resources or manufacturing.
Yeah, that's it. Boom. And so if I know that, okay, Nvidia is going to pay me X amount of money to get this going, and then I got some mom and pop shop, or even a major, like if I had to pick between like Walmart or Nvidia, I'm going to sell to Nvidia because they're going to pay top price, and I know they're going to be able to pay me quickly. Not to say that Walmart won't, but we know about the, you know, the nightmares that people have with Walmart.
Walmart squeezes people.
Yeah, exactly. And so like this idea behind them is, like, this is why I think they are a juggernaut, and everybody knows, because not only are they a real company, but even if they fake the numbers, they're the only real business in town that can do what they're trying to do,
right?
Like, and do it efficiently. So regardless of it, like, they have, not only do they have the manpower, but they also have the ability to do it. And so with what we're seeing with the why am I forgetting what it's called? Lord, what is going on with my brain? Normally I'm much more fluid, but right? Like, it's very fluid. But in the same sense, when it comes down to the software systems of like creating and coding for, and I posted this actually on my LinkedIn page, of potential AI new developments in the next, 6 months to a year, where agents are going to start doing a lot of this stuff for us, right? That it's going to be able to do things that normal medial, you would have to pay somebody to do it. and your local AI, Gemini, and or let's say Copilot, that you just sit there and say, hey, do this for me right now, and it actually does a good job. And so I sat there and I'm like, okay, if this is really happening, it only makes Nvidia more like buyable. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, well, I don't know. Like, absolutely, I'm gonna buy Nvidia, because what do they need above all that stuff? As the development of AI progresses, there's nobody else that can do what Nvidia does. Like, I would almost.
That's true.
So, regardless of, are they really worth, $100 trillion, whatever they're, I don't know, I forget what their market value is. I can actually look it up here real quick.
Good morning,
but
Miss
like
Pixel.
whatever it is,
Mrs.
at
Pixel.
$2 trillion, $3 trillion, there's nobody else who can do what they can do. You know what I'm saying? You can fudge the numbers.
I know, but here,
go ahead.
You're still looking at it at the top end. Let's go back to the mining and manufacturing discussion here.
Yeah.
They're buying and shipping a product to almost every person on the planet.
Great.
Right? That uses a computer.
Or a smartphone.
Or smartphones, computers, laptops. I wouldn't say every person. Say let's just come up with a random number. 1 billion people have computers with Nvidia equipment in them.
Well, not even say that. Okay, let me phrase this. If you use a form of AI, whether it's Copilot, Grok,
right, and the data centers are filled with their big GPUs
yes.
and AI processing units, right? And a lot of those now sell for $40,000-$50,000 each.
A piece.
And Elon's buying tons of them. So here's my example. When I worked for, when I had my own company, we bought a bunch of products. If we did $16 million in business a year, we bought essentially, and broke even, we bought $16 million worth of goods and people, payroll and stuff to build our trucks. And we made a bunch of smaller companies very well off. Just the guys that made the articulating arms to raise up and down bulletproof glass. They had a new system, and we tested it out. It worked great. We gave them a whole bunch of orders. They created a very good company out of it. Had money to develop other products now, and boom, off they went to the races. Where are those companies for Nvidia? You can't tell me Nvidia is completely vertically integrated and can make everything in their own factories. It's impossible in today's business to be able to do that at such a scale. And now I know you look. I see the reports. We're opening a new facility in Israel. We're opening a new facility in Qatar. We're opening a new facility in Thailand. They're clearly building out stuff. But there should be like, every computer piece in your computer you don't want to rust. So it's either aluminum or it's some kind of plated steel or of some sort. Just the plating companies should be getting super wealthy, with all that business. The wiring, the harness companies should be just like going nuts. And they should be public, and their stock should have tripled also on the numbers. But you don't hear from them. And why? Why is that? And that's the questions I have. And that's why, I use the thing, is it a Ponzi scheme? It's some things not making sense to me here when you look at it from a manufacturing perspective. You looked at someone gave me their financials. First thing I always do when I look at financials is say, look at the bottom line. But I would look for their cost of goods sold, and then break that down into what they're making in-house and what they're contracting out. And where are those companies? Because a lot of them should be public companies.
Absolutely.
Or things that people invest in, and they should be going crazy, and there should be a whole supply chain basket that
you could buy
that Wall Street trades, the Nvidia basket. And it's like, well, it's blah, 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 blah. And I don't understand where all that is. I don't understand where that supply chain is. And if I don't understand it, just doing basic research, why aren't these analysts, and I just despise the term analyst for these things. They're mostly addicted
Degenerate
gamblers. degenerates like us.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, but they just get to
like-
wear suits when they go to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And why aren't they figuring this? And they're not figuring it out because all these guys are now not growing up in the manufacturing business and understanding it, and how vast to support. What's their number? $100 billion in sales in the quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
To support that sales, you have to have a procurement department that buys an enormous amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it should be all over the news. There should be a bot account that just follows their procurement department and what companies they place orders with. Now, obviously, a lot of that's private information, but a lot of it's not because orders are so big, it affects the markets and stuff like that.
Oh, wait,
so
can I interrupt
put
real
to
quick?
you guys, whoever's, let me finish this thought.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you guys out there, the viewers. Hopefully, you guys are, I'm trying to attract a nice Twitter following here with this topic.
Mm.
You guys will put it to the test here, and someone will do some digging and say, all right, Tom, you're correct to think about what their supply chain's doing. Their supply chain cannot possibly support this, so we're going to need to look deeper into the numbers, determine if it's real or not. Or they're going to say, yeah, they employ a third of the country of Taiwan. They employ
Absolutely
600 million people in China via their subcontractors, and here they all are. And I just wasn't able to do the research properly. It's one of those two answers.
Or it could be the idea behind this, where you have individual companies that are not private, and they're able, and they work in the industry, like i.e., I remember the name.
Foxconn.
Wow. Huh?
Like Foxconn?
Or that's one for as a good example, where they're not private, or where they are private, and they very much don't want to deal with the headaches of having to, appease shareholders. And so if I am Nvidia, I would actually rather go through that route than actually trying to go through huge conglomerates where I got to sit there and they've got to raise rates. Because remember, like Nvidia, like legitly, it's not a pure profit. They have to sit there and create these amazing developments of their tech, everything.
Yeah, they have to spend an amazing amount on research and design.
Yes.
They could spend $5 billion on something that doesn't work. They're like, no,
Yeah.
that didn't work.
Absolutely. And so a lot of it potentially is like that they're moving forward. So if I'm sitting there and if I'm a business owner and I got to sit there and go, okay, I can go through this. These guys can kick off what I need, but then I got to deal with the fluctuations of pricing based off of their stock and with their needs and services. Versus if I go through a private industry, I'm still dealing with that, but at least I don't got to deal with the headache of the corporate entity that is entailed within a public company. So it's like this, and there are a lot that are out there that are ginormous, but they're not public. So I think it's really important to also understand that, like, it's not just this or that. It's not one or the other. It's there could be a myriad of avenues that they could go. So I don't think it's one or the other. And especially when it comes to business, or especially when it comes to manufacturing, you're looking for people who can truly do it and do it well, right? Like, you remember we were at the conference, we were driving back, and you were talking about the Indian or the Pakistani business you were working with, and like they just screwed everything up, right?
Right. They didn't do it well. And they needed to hire people like me to come in and teach them how to do it well.
And even then they didn't. So it's like
it's culturally they just couldn't get it done. They just didn't work.
And that actually happens quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of places in India that are very similar to that. There are places in what's the word I want to use? In South Africa, right? Because of corruption. Or not South Africa, excuse me, in Africa, where it's, countries that are, it's just because of, corruptions that happen, right? So-and-so here's this company got a big contract. Well, XYZ thug comes around and knocks on the door again. Hey, I heard you. And they're like, no, leave us alone, right? And they're like, no, your children will die if we do. So you decide. So there's a lot there that we don't know as Americans that happen. And so I just think I don't think it's just one way or the other. But I've never done Never worked a lot in manufacturing, so I can't sit there and say 100%.
It's the most frustrating. You know, it's more frustrating than dealing with politics, like I have on the back of the screen here. Manufacturing, I got to tell you, it's a tough ass business. But if you can make a go at it, you really can. The future is
open.
Sky's unlimited. A great personal example here. Set everything up right. Factory was set up right. Supply chain set up right. Set the cash flow. All the business things you needed to do. Everything was great. And we're like, got the contract. Everything was good. It was multi-year contract. Everything depended on the first deliveries, the first one, so that they would pick the options to extend the contract. Blah blah blah. Everything was great. And I went to order all the steel for it, all the armor plate for it, and they're like, yeah, we're looking at about 8 months. I'm like, what? 8 months delivery for me to get the armor plate that I needed.
8 months.
I was like 8 months.
Ouch, dude.
I'm like, in 8 months I need to be recognizing revenue from the contract already.
Yeah.
To make the bank and investors happy and all that. And I'm like, this can't work. And I said, normally it's 30 days. You have the truck shows up and all that. Like, oh yeah, they're building a new bridge out in California or something like that. And like all of the defense industry, the whole thing orders as much steel just to build about one bridge in the world. Like all the ships, all the armor plate tanks, all that type of stuff. It's about the same amount of steel that goes into building one major suspension bridge. That's it. So the steel companies supplying steel to 70 bridge people making bridges all over the world, and to the auto industry, and to every industry on the planet. And even a big juggernaut like the United States defense industry is a tiny little percentage of the steel industry. So they put you on the back burner. And it's not they don't care about you. Steel is made in giant vats. It's called a pour. Each heat lot, one pour. And there's only so many pours. And it's not like they can just say, oh, we'll work 24 hours a day here. The steel mill operates 24 hours a day. They can't make more. They just have to, they have to build a new steel mill to make more. And of course, the steel that I bought is only made by 3 steel companies. You can't go to a cheap Chinese place to get armor plate. Oops, sorry, the bullet went through. Sorry.
Right.
And so you had everything running great. And then just one supply chain blunder on my part for not predicting that screws up the whole thing. I had to run around and scrape and buy from competitors at inflated prices and all types of stuff, but it got her done. But it's really hard. And when I see manufacturing companies with numbers like Nvidia, I'm like, how do they do that? It's impossible to avoid all the pitfalls of manufacturing. It's impossible. It's just you can't. You can't, because weird shit like that happens all the time. Nvidia might be the biggest manufacturer of this stuff, and everyone AI is doing it, but they still all the GPUs in the world. If you melted them all down into like one thing, it would be like the pole that holds up the Golden Gate Bridge. That's it. So it confuses me.
It's interesting, like the nuances and the just the deliberate things that need to happen for things to actually work through and actually come to fruition. And so here's my question, right? Like, so when we're thinking, and obviously I'm looking at Nvidia here on the screen, and like I see them lower. Like I can see them. They just put in a lower high now into this lower low. Potential, and I think the next lower low is that 78.10 area. So you could potentially pick up Nvidia, and we've talked about, we've seen me call out a few other stocks out here, right? Like we talked about Apple, we talked about Meta a few times here. We've talked about Tesla, right? At these low levels, where to get in at. We talked about it hitting here. I think it was all the way up here. Right, it was like 250, $260, and I said I expect to see it down at that 158, 152 area.
Hold on a sec, Pedro. My screen is not deciding which one to be on, yours or mine. Okay, now it's on yours.
All right, perfect.
Which stock you have Nvidia up?
No, so I had Nvidia up. Right now I was just explaining, like, and I'm saying this because I this is not financial advice, but I'm personally looking to get in with Nvidia, like just like I was looking to get in with Tesla around that 158, 152 ish area right here, and we came down a little bit lower. We came down to the 137. And now we're starting to see it come back down again. So I'm expecting us, if it's a true area, it will always come back down, retest, and then push back up. So I'm expecting to see a little bit low. We could see it go lower, where we could see the 105 area for Tesla. I'm definitely looking at, and we talked about, which I'm pissed off at, is
sorry, I'm trying to.
So this is Meta.
Thing. What?
So this is Meta. We were just looking at Tesla, and then we looked at Meta, right? Meta, we called Meta down at these lower levels here when we first started doing this, right?
I remember.
And I talked about, hey, look, we're coming back down to here. I would expect to see it. And then I'm mad that I never got into Meta, which is, at the time, I was cash poor, so I couldn't really get
That's another one that I don't understand. Because they're talking about how their revenues went up so much and advertising and all this kind of stuff. And all you hear about is people not using Facebook. Now, I understand that Instagram is part of the Meta family, and Instagram is a big place. But frankly, I don't see, it's not like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube where you see a crap load of ads.
Yeah.
I just, that's another one. I'm like, how the heck did they triple their sales? And when I don't need, I'm like.
So this is how, because I used to use them for my insurance company, where I would actually post ads, and every time somebody clicked on my ad, okay, and they would put their information in, I would pay Facebook, $12, $10, $8, and it was an algorithm that ran itself. Now, again, and the reason why I'm bringing up all of these tech stocks is every one of these tech stocks are multi-trillion-dollar tech stocks, like legit. And guess what their primary infrastructure is?
Data centers.
And what is filled with those data centers?
Nvidia cards.
So the structure, and again, I'm gonna talk about this again. Let's look at Netflix, another juggernaut. Okay, they have to.
Fucker. I'm just gonna break the language barrier and say those fuckers with ending the password sharing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But
it made so many lives so difficult doing that. And they were going along just fine.
Well, that's the problem, is they weren't. Look, so they went from $689 all the way down to literally $177. So they had to figure out a way to bring in income, because they started having negative sales on their quarterly statements. So look, this is why it had to happen. Or you no longer have a Netflix. You decide.
Oh my word, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I had the volume down on that. Darn it. Sorry about that.
LeBron James.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, Drano in the house.
Drano.
Oh, that must mean that NetZ starting to move.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
Oh, if you're here to let us know that NetZ is on the rise, we'll be very happy, people.
Come on now, preach. Come on. So, and I'll just bring this up because it's like, I think it's important. Like, people think there's, something for nothing, right? And Tom, of all people, that's not how it works. So again, we saw a huge sell-off drop, and then they started doing little things to actually started bringing money in and really started bringing in a lot of eyeballs to check them out. And dude, look at this, like 8p period moving average, dude. It's like pop, come through. So it's a beautiful. I'm expecting it's once we get above the highs here with a little bit of volume, I do see a pullback with Netflix coming in. And I'm hoping that we could see it come down to $400 mark. Is really what I'm looking at, just simply because, I think with the potential drop in what we're seeing with the economy and potential things that I expect to see what happen. I do see Netflix dropping, and I can get in at these lower prices. Also, if things do hit
still have the meta sign up there. There we go.
If things do falter, I hope I could see it come down to even the $200 mark. That would be nice for me, or everybody, I think, because this is nice for everybody's 401k, right? So now let's jump back to Nvidia. All right, Nvidia here, and Nvidia here is playing off of our monthly 8. You can see how we've been playing off of it. We actually showing weakness here because of the pierce on this 8. And when you look at us on a weekly time zone, here's the high, here's a low. Okay, did not put a new lower low, but we did put in a new higher low here. And so this little stack of drop here, if we start to see this thing falter between the 118 mark area, I'm expecting us to come down to the lows here of that 90, if not potentially 78-ish area, right? It all depends on if it's going to stay above this point right here. Like this, which is this mark of the 92.06 to 90.69. Now there are a few things to hold. There's a lot of support here, but when it comes down to buyers, you can see here that volume has been dropping off over the last couple of weeks. So because people's weighing on is, and this is where I'm really struggling with, because from a standpoint of a fundamentalist, we see agents, which is going to basically be our little worker bees, right? That are algorithms that are getting better, and you can have them self-improve. So as that starts to happen, what will be, and they're 24 hours working all the time, instead of having, little medial players of, people that you pay to put and establish social media drops, you would actually have these agents that do it. So I would expect to see more GPUs having to be bought by a lot of people like Meta, Google's AI.
Yeah, and you think that somebody else would be able to start making. I mean, AMD is getting their lunch handed to them.
Yeah, they
actually their lunch stolen from them.
Absolutely.
Their lunch money stolen from them. I have on the screen here, I have bland.ai. And I ran into them yesterday. Didn't run into them. Saw them written about yesterday. And they have an example on here where the CEO talks to their customer service agent.
I called it yesterday.
You absolutely... Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Absolutely
you absolutely cannot tell until you do it for a few minutes, and it'll get one word slightly wrong for your dialect, the dialect of English it's using.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you're like, and you can just talk to it casually and normally, and the AI even says things like to make it sound like a human, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
Although I can't figure out their business model. They say they've created this thing and they're using it for outbound calling, meaning, we can place 100,000 calls at the same time for you. And I'm like, well, there's like laws against that, and
but not everywhere.
Right.
Not
but
everywhere,
I mean, my point is that who answers the phone anymore? I mean, let's do a poll. Does anybody answer the phone except from friends and relatives? Not even all of them. I mean, my phone is on do not disturb 100% of the time. And only people that I mark as a favorite does it ever even ring through or show a notification for. So if my phone rings, like actually rings or vibrates, it's 100% someone I want to talk to. So, and like everyone else in my family is kind of like that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, who just answers random calls? Like, oh, hi, this is Tom. Because it's these idiots calling you. Hey, I've got a extended car warranty.
Well, and I'll put it like this. So the CEO is Isaiah in Granite. And so I actually reached out to him, messaged him privately and said, hey, I saw this. I called it. I think it's dope. I'd love to have you on our show to talk about, because I deal with AI stuff. I'm always looking to see what the next thing is. Love to have you on it. So if he responds, if anybody knows him, and he's a young kid, you know what I'm saying? He's literally, I think maybe 30, you know what I'm saying? And he's built this thing. He's out of San Francisco. So our Lord, or Jesus, the Lord and Savior, out in San Francisco, if you could go out, if you have a way to connect with him, that would be dope. But and the reality is I'm looking at what he's doing and I think it's phenomenal. And so somebody like him or his organization that has figured out something correct. And I have to admit, I am floored. I called it, I connected with them, bro. And they only give you a 2.5 minute and then they say, well, I can't help you anymore, but go ahead and reach out to our sales department. And I called twice. So I was like, it is down to, dude, I was absolutely floored. What I liked about it is this. It's not even the call out. They can actually kind of receive calls and be able to sit there and get information. Let's say, let's say for me and you, right? We want to have a sales team who basically receives calls for people to reach out to us as a social media platform. Well, these guys, instead of we got to pay somebody $10 an hour and, or $5 an hour in, let's say, Vietnam, right, to handle our calls, they can. This company can. And it do it very well. At least I'm assuming they probably will. So it's, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, dude. Did I send you this? Or no?
No, I saw it on Twitter. I follow a guy that tweets every day about AI.
Oh, yeah.
And that was what he tweeted. You probably follow him too. He's got 83 million followers or something.
Yeah, but I'm constantly, anything that's new AI, I'm constantly.
Tom Oliver, welcome to the house. Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It really is. I honestly look, see how they naturally do that? I can't wait to the day where we can actually do an agent, and all they're using is agents, and they've well programmed that agent to be able to interact with people. So I think by itself, as agents really start to take over and really get things going within the AI industry, I expect Nvidia, regardless whether it's true or not, Nvidia is going to be one of those places that you're just stupid if you're not. It's like people who look back, because here's the thing, everything, they're too far ahead. I mean, if anything, I could see the government step in and saying, you're too big. We got to break you guys apart because you corner this. That's possible. The old antitrust laws are always something that could be utilized. Yeah.
But just the scale of this is not the scale, but the concept of this is so interesting. I listened to another discussion yesterday about the efficiencies that it creates, and one of the guys said, "Well, let's not forget that we're doing this here in English. It's being programmed in English, and it talks to us in English." He said it does use any language you want.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but what happens when one AI starts talking to another AI? What language are they going to use?
They're going to use code.
Right, they're going to use the most efficient code.
Yes.
The most efficient code is essentially assembly language, the original programming language, and what all programs are essentially going to boil down to run. And nobody's going to be able to understand it. And so they'll have their own language talking to each other because it'll be the most efficient way of communicating. If they're not that smart to figure out to do that, which language of the 240 that they have programmed for is actually the easiest to use. I mean, English is actually, not one of the easiest ones because we don't use
correct vernacular. There's not.
There's plenty of reasons why to list English as not being a great language, especially in our written version when we don't have any accents and things like that on vowels, or letters, so you know which way to say it. You just have to learn it. And God forbid they would pick German, but that's even worse than English.
Dude, I honestly think we'll probably have a new language that I think the AI will pick. You know what I'm saying? Because as we start to see agents really start to proliferate the just day-to-day work, it's going to need a new language, because I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will create its own language between itself.
Yeah, maybe it creates its own written and spoken language. So that it's just really efficient. And has every word in the language is unique and doesn't have two meanings, like two, and two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And so it's just going to be really interesting as it's phenomenal. It's not phenomenal, but it is phenomenal in the sense of, even these are small little network-ish jumps. Each jump plays off each other. So you have 20 to 30 jumps a month. And they're micro jumps, right? They're definitely micro jumps. It can now do this. Oh, it can now do that. But every time you have this new innovation of the micro jump, it allows for it now to, pivot to that next level. And so it's good. I just think it's interesting where we're at right now. And I don't think that we actually even understand currently right now where AI really sits. I still think it's ones and zeros. I don't think it's sentient. I still think it's very much AI specific. But we're getting to the point when that single-celled mechanism has now evolved into a heartbeat. And when that happens, right, where it goes from, one single cell to now where there's a heartbeat there, and it may not even be sentient, but there's a heartbeat. And so I think we're kind of getting close to that heartbeat, whether
the Borg.
And so I think we're at a point where it's, what is it? AI will have mainnets as the language. Drano. I love that.
I like everyone's shilling. I enjoy it. But that one's a stretch. That one's a stretch.
To the whole California. What's funny is I was listening to why am I forgetting his name? Mustafo on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about how the situation that's happening with the SEC.
There it is.
No. Yeah. What's up?
Sorry, if I start talking, I'll totally blow your thought process out. Go ahead and finish your thing.
So, let's talk about NFTs, right? With Mr. Gensler, right? And he was bringing up the fact is that, look, regardless of whether the securities or not, the ability and the technology behind it can be used in many ways. And so he was talking about how, California right now, we've talked about this here, California is using the blockchain and DNFTs to actually create a way for them to be able to pass and be efficient with people's social security cards, for their birth certificates, right? And you can just go on as they're creating this blockchain, and through your specific thing, you can actually go through and use it and be able to get your information without having to go through the tedious situation of going through the government, right? Of having to do all that. It's just simply just going to be on the blockchain. You get your own stuff and you're able to move forward. And they're called DNFTs. Is how they're really developing this. They're dynamic, non-fungible tokens, right? DNFTs. And so, and it's still on the blockchain. You're able to use it.
Khalil,
and the point behind it is
show.
this: is just that simple little switch from Gary Gensler saying these are securities, to also the fact is that you can use this on the blockchain. And you can now be able to change these in a way where even though they still hold the NFT status, you can go through and use it. And that's and as it progresses, to see the new idea that we're going to see what's the next innovation of NFTs, like or DNFTs. And so I just think it's phenomenal. I think I'm stoked to even be in this period and understand half of the stuff we understand. Like when I sit down and start talking with people, most people are like, "What? What's an agent?" And I go, "Well, an agent is like your personal assistant that you're going to have in about 3 to 5 years on your phone,
Right.
and everything else. Like your entire life will be governed by agents." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, you should probably be paying attention to this." And I love the fact that I understand this, and we're like, we're neck deep in this, and I love it. Anyways,
Troublesome brings up a great point. A computer is just a bunch of tiny switches. It doesn't know anything. That is 1,000% true. And previously it said that we're overestimating AI. It'll be hundreds of years before we'd ever have to worry about sentient machines. And I want to agree with that, but I don't think so for this rate, because this is all
the growth.
This is growing on a logarithmic scale, what we're doing here. And I, like in crypto, I say, let's look at the big picture and zoom out.
Yeah.
And the way we need to zoom out here is you look at the things that were invented by humans that stepped
progresses.
The first thing was we figured out fire. Once the human figured out how to light fires, they could cook foods. And and suddenly, all of a sudden, we didn't have to live in a cave. And then
the wheel.
They figured out the wheel. All of a sudden, the humans are like, oh, okay, we can move stuff and use tools.
Yep.
Okay, big launches in human productivity. And then, I mean, people say internet, AI, all this kind of stuff. There's going to be a point where someone, like 10,000 years from now, they're going to look back on human evolution and say, well, it was about the end of the 20th century, end of the 19th century, when they kind of figured out electricity. And once they figured out electricity, innovation and science discovery went logarithmic, and it's still going logarithmic. And so things are accelerating on anything having to do with electricity, which allowed the invention of computers. Everything we do, human productivity went crazy. We were able to become an interplanetary species because we figured out electricity. And so they'll look back, 10,000 years from now, people will just be, part of the universe. and things are just advancing so fast now. But troublesome, the concept that you got to remember now that nobody just has a computer anymore. I mean, even my system here, much of it lives, in a system somewhere with knowledge. And, once, people start setting up, agents to gather it, talk to it, and know it, and it brings in new information, discards old information. It's really no different than your brain. And especially since they'll be able to order, they'll be able to do things like, they're starting to be able to print the components for solar panels in 3D printing. Once AI figures out how to make stuff, once they figure out how to make stuff, they'll be able to make themselves. And then it'll be different. Obviously, much speculation.
Well, and I want to make sure I understand. I want you guys to understand. I know right now AI is not sentient, and all it does is just simply go through and create A plus B equals C. That's it. I understand that, right? And we even have to plug in right now A plus B and hint it towards C. But of late, we've seen with agents that there is a governing protocol that is allowing it to go. If A plus B equals C, then C minus D should give me A. And in addition to that, it's now realizing, okay, this is an alphabetical system right now. And if that is true, I can then add 1 plus 1 equals 2. right? And so it's at a point now. Granted, we've got to prompt it, but we've created a governance where we put a system behind it saying these are the parameters we want you to play in, and it's starting to play a little bit outside of that box. And honestly, this is where I feel like it is. I want to say, I don't want to use the word sentient, because if when you look at single-celled amoebas, right? Like I want to call those sentient in a sense, like how we are, right?
Right.
But in the same sense, if you hurt it, right, it won't go in that area that you hurt it at. It stays away, right? Like, and so in the same sense, we ourselves, like that's how we react, and we see the same thing. So there's going to come a point, I think, and I don't know how long it's going to be. Come on, bro. Mainnet, what is it? Mike, what's up, brother? You good?
Crypto Mike, thanks for joining us. What did I miss? Let's see. I basically accused Nvidia of being a giant scam, so I'll probably get sued tomorrow. No, I didn't accuse them of being a scam. It's just that I don't understand how their supply chain supports their manufacturing capabilities.
The juggernaut. And I said, honestly, they're probably going through independent private organizations and I have to deal with the malarkey of having to deal with red tape within corporate entities. I mean, and when I mean corporate entities, I mean like companies that are just public, that they don't want to deal with, right? Because they've got too much red tape themselves that they've got to deal with. So I think there's more to it than just that, you know, like as we see. And you yourself, you were a businessman in manufacturing. You understand there's a lot of nuances that most people just don't get.
Just the amount of stuff you need to do to make stuff. I mean, it's really amazing. And my son, interestingly enough, grew up in my factory, and but as a between 5 and 10-year-old. And so he sees the processes, but he doesn't really understand them. Now he's an engineering student, and he just came off a good summer internship working at a manufacturing company. And he's like working at the beginning of the design process. And all that has to go right in the design process for that to go right. You know, he said like the equivalent for a software program is the code developer. It's writing the original, basic beta program. It's like, all right, well, we need the software that does this. All right, we'll get the code guy on it. Manufacturing, that's the engineering designer. And he's like, Dad, I didn't realize they were just making simple products in my mind. I was like, well, I made cars, so they're quite complicated. But even then, they had 300 different processes to make this little piece of metal merge with this other piece of metal just correctly. And he's like, I didn't realize how much went into this. I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And with the manufacturing process is supporting the whole AI industry. Everyone thinks AI, well, it's just data. The whole, in the Western world now, we're not used to manufacturing, and that the whole service economy exists because someone else is doing the manufacturing. Someone is doing it. Dara says, I always ask what demographic is writing the code. Any AA model will reflect their values. Oh, that's a good point.
It's true.
Very good point. AI will eventually experience an existential crisis and will wipe us all out in a fit of anger. Where have we seen that before? Terminator.
Yeah.
And in what was the Ferris Bueller, the Matthew
Coney?
No, Ferris Bueller, the actor married to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay.
What about it? It was the what was it called? War games.
Oh yes, yeah.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah. And then like some kid in the middle. Where was he at? Like in the middle of nowhere was like.
Yeah.
Now
he wormed his way into NORAD.
Yeah. So it's just, I honestly
War
don't.
Games, yeah.
It may just actually, it's always something like that, right? Like an accident of something of some sort, like penicillin, right? Just leave it out there, and all of a sudden you're like, well, those things died. What happened? Right? It's always something weird like that happens in the middle of nowhere where we just realize, like, oh shoot, So potentially that could happen again. Some kid out, but again, and then I throw out agreed with Daryl. So I go, I agree, but at what point do they go on their own and start to, as I write versus actual WRITE? I don't even know. I was like, just it's my brain is just typing, so it's like there's a fart there to start write for themselves, and does and when it does, it ditch its parents' thought, i.e., us. Like Broderick. Yeah. That's his name. So, like, at what point in time will that AI that we govern, that we do sit there, and lo and behold, and I want to also throw this out. So we actually ran into a group called Theric. Did we talk about them?
Not yet. I'm gonna separate their video out.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna talk about them here, real quick.
Well, while you're getting your thoughts together, quickly, Drano, he says mainnet is doing it. Tom, first blockchain to use in curriculum inside the classroom. That's not true. Sorry, Duke University's been doing it for a long time. In fact, we've had their guy that runs their program, Jimmy Lenz, their Masters of Engineering program on it, and they actually they design blockchains and build them there and launch them and use other ones, take them apart, see how their code was written, all that type of stuff, and they use and they've been doing it for a couple of years. Also, one of the schools in Massachusetts does it. Our guest Patrick Doherty that comes on periodically teaches at in Itasca, New York, at Cornell, and they have also a similar program in which they're using blockchains in the classroom and making them, like designing new ones. Now I get it that mainnet Z is being picked out because of its capabilities for them to use. So I'll give you that. But it's definitely not first. And Daryl, thanks for reminding me. It's Matthew Broderick. When I was younger, people said I looked like him. They called me Ferris Bueller for a while, and I was like, I never saw it, but some people did.
Interesting.
Ever watched the movie Eagle Eye? Yeah, that was a bad movie.
Man, that's interesting. Man, I cannot wait till these guys let me in this group. I want to use them so bad on air. Like, it's theoric AI. So we'll just talk about this real quick. So we came across this project over in the Futures Conference, and they're called Theoric AI. And if you guys like AI stuff, what they've done is they've created a conglomeration of all the top AIs, and as they keep moving forward and keep growing, what they've done is they've created agents to sit there and analyze. So you'll have you'll ask a question, and in the beginning, you'll ask this question, and what happens, it gives you a Copilot or Gemini or Grok and or what are the top ones? Grok, and then Chat GPT, or like I said, Copilot. And what happens is, what do you call Perplexity AI? And so it'll give you, let's say if I ask, why is the sky blue? And then ask it like a theoretical question, right? And is there a way that we could ever change that color, right? It would, each AI is going to give you a different viewpoint. Or if I ask, why is Trump good or why is Trump bad, right? Each one's going to give you a different thought process. Thank you. And so Shingai, who's she's from South Africa, African, how do we call South African? South African. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, she's the one in the middle here, South African woman, and we were talking about what she wants to do and how she's setting everything up, and I sat there in amazement because this system allows for each question to see the evolution of answering that question, and they place all those answers on the blockchain. So what it does is it keeps AI ethical and allows it to be able to sit there for us to sit there spotlight. Like, we asked it this question and it went from this to this, and we can see the bias in it. And as it decides to change, or as the owners of that AI / also sooner or later agents that are going to be controlling a lot of that starts to get developed, we'll be able to see how it's morals,
if it's changed, if the answers have changed over time, right?
Yeah. And so
like on Wikipedia, you can go look at the revision history on things and see, and see, how it answer or a description of something has changed over time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the answers are always getting better, not getting manipulated into a specific, viewpoint that a government wants to push.
The scary part is, like, I think as we keep moving forward, it is very much being, like, manipulated, and it's sad because it's like, man, like, really, like, it's scary. And we're down. How is it that we drop down? Whenever our discussions are so good, I feel like nobody cares to really get involved. So
I know it's tough. It's tough in these crypto markets when you talk crypto and projects and all that, and it's a bull market. You get a lot of people watching. And why is it doing? I obviously have taken it off full screen.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When I look at that and I see what's actually happening in this economy, I think we're on the verge of another micro turn in this market. And I think it's be really important for us to sit there and look. And by the way, I appreciate all you guys that are here. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for always being here and connecting and always just saying what's up. I appreciate you. I love the fact that we have guys here that interact with us and we interact with you. And it's always a pleasure every day. So thank you guys. But jumping back to what I was saying, this idea that I think we're on this micro change of another springboard that's going to launch us to that next space, and partly is literally agents. And so even though it's a small little jump, it's going to be a one small step for man, one large leap for mankind. Jeez. Yeah, that's it. That, and I swear that was not planned. But what's up, Carmen? Carmen's here. What's up? What's up? It's good to see you, Carms. Hope
Carmen Crypto in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, Chumbalone's great show yesterday. It's a great show every day. He's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Although I bet you our viewers have some that are ranked well, and some that you guys were just boring as fuck that day.
They're gonna be like, the day after the greatest show ever, y'all were boring.
I know, we've only had 39 views on YouTube. I don't even know how many on Twitter.
Yeah, it's funny. That's always kind of how it works.
I just can't stop saying Twitter.
X.
Also 34 views on X.
Yeah. Just throw this out here real quick. I think it's interesting.
Drano, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, because then we'll all get our money back. And we'll probably hear more from who is what's his name? The guy that turned us on to mainnet Z, Pedro.
Oh,
he's in England.
Yeah. Dude,
he was a moderator for the community too. Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, he's been deadly silent because he got his whole family into that at 12 cents, and now it's half a cent. So family's not happy with him. This stream is such a hidden gem. Won't be for long. That's right, Carmen. That's why I tag you on many of our tweets, so you retweet it and like it and get it out into your world. Definitely. And you got to come back on, Carmen.
Absolutely.
You got to stop sleeping in. You got to get up. 6 a.m.
She got a baby, bud. She got a baby. Come on, man. That gets hard.
Pit Monk, right there.
Pit Monk, that's what it was. Yes. Pit Monk, man, listen, man, I'm all about, we get how crypto works. Grayscale and an upcoming event. Yes, I need to come in for an update. Come on through, sis. Come on through. I actually wanted to point out here real quick, Cardano. So you had Chuck really make some really interesting statements over, was it yesterday, where he was like, F the trolls. Like, did you see that?
Who was saying that?
The CEO of Cardano.
Yeah, he's famous for doing that.
Yeah, so I started cracking up. So that little bit of FU kind of pushed up Cardano. So I just thought that was really interesting. Unfortunately, there's an 8 SMA sitting between, so we're doing a little ping pong. But I think if that would have been like more up right here when he did that at the supply level right here, that we could have seen it like potentially like probably push up. There was so much applause for him doing that. I just thought it was funny, and it actually pushed up this nice little green here. So I just thought that was, I thought it was
Troublesome. Sorry, Troublesom's been prolifically posting today, and good stuff too.
Yes.
He says, we look outward and see, we make telescopes and see further, we mount telescopes on spaceships and see further, we look inward and see, microscopes allow us to see even further, atomic scopes. That may not sound that mind-blowing, but it kind of is. I think someone, was it Troublesome, that used the word existential earlier? I mean, you know, the stream's getting tough when we're going to start talking about who is the writer? Sartre? Was he the one that... My mother died today, or was it yesterday? I do not know. What was that book? The Crucible? Was that The Crucible? Anyway, that was a double side tangent. But anyway, when you look at telescopes and how far you can see, the space out there is so vast. You know, you're like, wow, look at all this space, and like, you know, just to get to our nearest star, traveling at the speed of light to take you 3 years. You know, and so, you know, by definition, we're alone because, you know, everything that we can see that there's nothing there that's organic like us. But then you look down and you go down, and I remember sorting this all out in my head when I was helping my son with his science class, and we were watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and I was like, well, and I'm particularly good at physics and things like that. I had a lot of physics in my life, and I was trying to explain it to him. I said, let's watch some videos, and they came up. All the new YouTube videos now explain things far better than any science teacher did in high school. Now it's like,
dude, they're so amazing, bro.
They're unbelievable. If I had YouTube when I was in school, I would have graduated in 9th grade with 69 PhDs.
And yeah, we have this
just looking down further, ever. Troublesome, right down and realizing the vastness of space. If you could make yourself the smallest unit of measure is called a Planck length. It's the theoretical smallest unit of measure that cannot be subdivided further. And there's actually a math calculation that determines that using the speed of light and all this type of stuff. It's just, and the different and if you're counting in Planck lengths, the distance from my hand to the other hand, there's a, you know, almost an infinite amount of numbers in there, is the same distance if you're at that scale as our known universe. So if you were as small as a Planck length, you know, it would be the equivalent of us being on the planet and seeing, you know, $13.2 billion years into the past. So that statement, it's profound, is what I was the word using. There's just as much to learn by looking down and smaller as there is to look out and outward. Very, very, very interesting, Troublesome. Thank you for going. That turned into a striking soliloquy.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely amazing. The fact is, as far as we can look out is as how far as we can see within.
Well, and then he says, this is an easy one. Where's the point where the outside and inside meet? Right here on this YouTube channel. Come on, man. right? It's this spot right here on the microphone, right?
This right here, this connection. I'll tell you where it meets. It's called love. I think one day we're all going to figure it out.
Oh, look at that. Throw us the
All you need is love.
Da, 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 da.
All you need is love. Love, love. All you need is love. Anyways, okay. So as I make your ears bleed, I apologize as I bust out into just random singing. But it's hopefully they don't actually ding us off of this, right?
Crypto, we're working on space travel literally every day now.
Yeah, literally. Like,
You Canadians are still building the arm.
I mean, Elon Musk is literally his whole entire goal is like every day we see it.
I got to tell you, I follow all those guys that follow SpaceX and the launches and all the NASA space flight YouTube channels and Everyday Astronaut and all that. They have so much content they can't even keep up. They can't. There used to be like one rocket launch every decade. Oh, NASA finally launched another one. And now there's like SpaceX does an amazing thing, launches their giant ass starship that's a size of a 40-story building or something crazy like that. And then while that's going on, they launch another one, more satellites in orbit from another launch pad. They just keep hitting launch buttons. Boop, 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 boop. It's the most amazing thing ever. That's why I pushed I pushed my son into the aerospace and aero and astronautical engineering. I said, if you can graduate with a degree in that, you can have your pickup jobs. And he's going to graduate in a degree in it. And my daughter's looking at various things that'll get her into the environmental sciences part about humans living on either other planets or in space or things like that. Obviously not studying that directly because you didn't have to go somewhere, but learning the basics in order so you can take that knowledge and apply to it. I think we talked about it on this show, Pedro, but I'm not sure. Elon Musk put out a thing saying, we're going to be an interplanetary species and I'm going to be doing it. And SpaceX is going to be doing it. Tesla is going to be doing it. Think of all the companies he puts together. Space company, communications company, mobility company, Tesla, and a tunneling company. All of those things you need to create a species and a colony on Mars. He's essentially creating the industry to do that here. And but I totally forgot where I was going with it. Oh, yeah. He put out a thing saying, we do all this, but this is what we don't do. And we need companies to do this, to sell us these products because we don't want to develop them or don't have time to. We'll do it if there's no one else around to do it, but we'd rather buy these products from other companies. And it listed all the other things like, food distribution, warehousing, growing food in space, all that type of stuff. And the entire industry of supporting what they need to do. And it was like trillions of dollars of companies that needed to be created to do that. And watching that spin up it's probably like watching the Industrial Revolution get started in England when they in the United Kingdom when they kind of led the world in that, in the 1700s and 1800s.
It's interesting, dude. Like I think it's with this idea that we
yes, Crypto Mike. Sorry, Pedro. Yes, he said we should have a Starfleet Academy, and I was like, exactly. I mean, right now everyone's at different colleges doing stuff. They definitely need to have a Starfleet Academy, but they will. The universities will start teaching that. I mean, they're already starting the basics. And like I just said, my son is learning stuff about it. I mean, he can calculate, how to get something into a trans-Martian orbit. I mean, you can do it now in video games if you can figure that out. But they're teaching him how to do that. My daughter's going to be learning about the, growing food and different gravity levels and that type of stuff. I mean, it's amazing. And they'll definitely need a university that's just a special set. Probably going to be Purdue University, where I went, I might add. They have an amazing aeronautical and astronautical environmental. Purdue does the most amazing stuff. I did not get my value for graduating from there out of that. I should have learned so much more. Well, Pedro, I do have to get going. I have to help repair a dryer with my brother-in-law here in a few minutes.
Exciting. Well, I want to answer a question for Troublesome here real quick. and he asked,
Sure.
why aren't we at the speed of light? Excuse me, Crypto Mike. And I'll tell you, it's called special relativity issues. We also the cosmic speed light issue.
You just
And
rocked that shit, didn't
I
you?
totally did. Massless particle issue. So we've got some things that actually have to work out. It's not just a simple little, well, we do this little equation and we can now pass through small particles and allow our body to elongate and still stay in a mass of ability to be able to connect.
Oh man, we can have a space time. If anyone wants to talk space time, I'm the guy.
Space-time
I am the guy. We could have a whole nother channel just about talking about space time. And I don't mean as an authority, because there are authorities on it that are wicked smart people. I'm just talking about it. That's cool shit that we know how to talk about.
I'm down with that.
I love talking about that. This is what I love about the whole space time thing, is that there's the general idea that the closer you are to a source of gravity, the slower time moves. It's called time dilation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, a good example is, the one guy that was potentially one of the vice president candidates from Arizona. He was an astronaut.
Yeah.
He has a twin brother, and identical twin, and their DNA is like, they tested them. They're identical. They put one of them went up in space with a highly accurate atomic clock, and another one atomic clock was with the one on the ground. And when the guy comes back, the times are different because the guy in space is further away from the Earth, so time goes faster. Time goes slower on the Earth because you're closer to the center of gravity because of space-time. And that's like mind-blowing. You're like, oh, holy shit. And for a particle of light, this is going to blow all your minds. A particle of light travels at the speed of light, just say from the sun until it hits my red face here. It's going at the speed of light, and it has no mass. It doesn't know that it took 7 minutes to get here. It only knows is that it was instantly created, and because it's moving at the speed of light, its version of time is much smaller. And then it died. It was created and died, just like, in a billionth of a second, or trillionth, or at a Planck time, or whatever it is. It's just, or like, let's all think of the movie Interstellar, when they went down to the big planet, and suddenly 80 years went by of Earth time because of more gravity. That whole stuff is just mind blowing. You can watch those videos all day like this, like. And not only that, but it's in our GPS systems. Like when GPS first came out, it wasn't so accurate. And one of the things, and the Russians tried to copy it, and then we upgraded ours to higher precision. And what they did is they applied Einstein's general relativity equations to it, saying that, hey, you can't, if the thing is up there, it's going to travel faster in time. So the clocks are slowly getting ahead for the GPS satellites than the ones on Earth. So they have to correct for that. And the Soviets didn't know that at the time. So their version of it was slowly getting out of time and not as accurate. And then, of course, they figured it out. They're like, oh, we need to apply Einstein's relativity equations to this because time is different. Sorry to go off on a total side note there. I mean, that gets deep really fast, that stuff, but so interesting.
So I want to throw this.
I'm jealous that my kids are going to be able to
play,
experience it more than me.
Well, I don't know, man, with what we have going on with age-defying technology and how they're actually able to slow. So check this out. I started messing with a lot of these age-defying, and I'm not joking, dude, when I say this. So I started messing with how to actually help my cortisol or my mitochondria to actually age better and everything like that, right? And I have gray hair. Obviously, you can see in the videos and stuff like that. But I've been pulling out some hairs, and I'm literally going from gray. So you literally see dark, gray, and dark. It switches back.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Dude, and I'm sitting there going like, what? Like, what is actually going on? And so because I've started really trying to, first of all, become much more healthier, but also sitting there and playing with a lot of like the red light therapy, eating the correct foods that actually help your mitochondria actually produce better and not to be as stressed and allow certain things to happen. Dude, I've noticed just like, wow. So I think as we keep, and this is all stuff I've just been reading on and learning about, and I'm following, and I'm going like, man, if this is just through normal healthy foods and taking care of myself. Now, I'm not saying I'm going back in time and becoming like not older. Every day you get older, that's just something you're going to deal with. But I think there's going to come a point in time in maybe 40, 50 years where I think you will be able to take a pill. I think they will either be able to stop aging and or maybe even reverse it at a point in time. Will I be alive long enough for that? I don't know.
We better become a multi-planetary species by then, because there ain't gonna be enough room on this planet if we ain't dying.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think Elon Musk doesn't want to die. You know what I'm saying? So I think
I think you're wrong in that. He's eating so much steak and potatoes, the man's growing like a weed. Even the poor internet making fun of him. They're like, man, you're the richest guy in the world. You can hire the best trainers, and this is what we got. It shows his giant stomach.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
Elon. I'm not insulting you. I'm just being devil's advocate to Pedro. Jesus is gonna go back in his cave and come out younger.
You're cracking me up, dude. I just thought about this.
Jesus only came out for DYOR. Thank you very much.
Oh man. I just had a friend of mine just texted me, and she has a big issue. She has a very large backside, and it's very nice. And so the person always complains that it always goes numb when they sit down and do a bunch of stuff, right? 'Cause she has to work, and so she's got, she's trying to figure out a way to where it doesn't go numb. And she just texts me saying, "This is what I need to get," and it's this pillow, dude, of like, I just was cracking up.
I look down, respond to my brother-in-law, and I look up and I see the giant
dude,
booty on the screen.
This is what she sent me. Oh, I am like cracking. Look at this is the thing. Anyways, I apologize. I just thought it was so funny. So, forgive me for that as we digress. Dude, we're going too long when we're doing this. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the show. Oh, that's what I want to go. One last thing. Look at Ton. All right, guys. So here's the thing. We were talking about Ton. Ton shot up, and you can see how we saw.
Hey, Pedro, I'm going to step off for a second.
All right. You guys can see here that Ton, we saw a sell-off come in, and then we saw it hit the 8-period moving average. This is really important. Then we saw it go up into the evening, right? And now we're starting to see a sell-off again. So I'm expecting us to see it come down even further. So I'm actually really excited about Ton. I'm like, come on, baby, come on down. Come down to down here so I can play. So that's one thing I want to be excited about from a Ton. Yes, that is was a Telegram operating network or something like that. That is Telegram's thing. So this is something that I've been wanting to get in on because of the whole entire thing that's happening within, like they went down like 2 days ago for like 8 hours. And that was like a big deal, right? Or like a day and a half ago. And so I was hoping to see a huge sell-off, but what happened was a bunch of investors stepped in and bought. But I'm thinking, dude, who absorbed those buyers and then pushed this market down? And the only thing I can think of is institutional money. I mean, like realistically, institutional money is what did that. So for me, I'm sitting there going like, ooh, they want to see this thing get down. So you better get you some Infineon. Also, absolutely, Jesus, absolutely. I appreciate that. I will go and buy some. A Weibo token, what's up? Good to see you guys. We were about to get off and now we're over here. We're back again. Late, my dude. Crypto Mike, you never late. You show up on time when you decided you want to show up, my dude. So it is all good. But yeah, so I saw this yesterday and I was like, ooh, I forgot to bring that up. Also, there was something else I wondered, what was it? Was it Matic? No, it was a Matic, but this is one I like. Let this thing keep coming down here because I want to buy it down at these lower levels here. So come on down up in here. Boom. AVAX. No, which one was it? Was it SHIB? I thought it was the top. I was cutting through this this morning, and there was one that I wanted to talk about. The Algorand. Come on. Oh, no. Nope. Nope. Oh, that's what it was. BAT. It was basic attention because they had to lay off a bunch of people. That's what it was. They had to lay off because they're hurting quite a bit, right? But I love because this is Brave. So BAT is Brave's coin that they use, and so the fact is that we should see a negative correlate or a same type of correlations with the laying off people over at BAT. So I'm careful with this because they potentially could go belly up, right? So just putting honest, right? Like I hope they don't. So this is but if they start to see a major sell-off, are their investors going to step in and keep them, right? They have one of the best usage of, I use their stuff quite often. For my own stuff. I don't use it here because I have a hard time streaming with Brave here, but like ultimately, like I love using Brave because I think they're just a great organization. By me just simply streaming and looking at it, I actually accrue BAT, right? And then I'm able to keep it. So I'm expecting to see that if this thing sells off, I want to be buying at that $13 or 13-cent mark, and if it comes down to this 8-cent mark, man, I'm definitely getting on this. So like I'm hoping it does come back down. You can see we did come down into our area here and we saw it come back in at that 89. But I don't think we're gonna see it go below here, but if so, I'm definitely picking up some at this level. So that's what it was. So how you feel about Gala or Economy? Let me check them out here real quick. Let's check out Gala. We used to follow them quite a bit. Gala, here we go. So they came down, hit our area that we were expecting. Did a pretty decent sell-off. Honestly, it depends on if they're able to hold it. So Gala right now just put in a higher low here, right? So if they can push through, which they should be, this 50 period moving average, that next leg up should be at that 2 cent 5 area. So that's going to be the next leg up if we do get it. And I'm looking at the volume. We've got decent volume today off of this little rally. If they can really push off of this area here, this is a really good area for them to get going. Let's check out the weekly. Yeah, and they got above the weekly with good volume last week. So that's it right here. So I'm looking at, that's actually a pretty decent buy here. Imagine if our portfolio, instead of buying all the way up here, we bought down in here, right? Around these lower levels. Anyways, boom, been holding Gala forever. Yeah, I like this area here. If you're going to get in, that's what you want to get in at. I'm a little concerned though. If we see a major volume sell down with major volume, or big sell off with major volume, I would expect to see it continue down. But right now we have small amount of volume on this week. So in relationship to the actual selling, so if we can see this thing go green for the week, and let's check out that month. If this thing goes green for the month, and we see it get all the way up to that 213 area, the 2 cent 13 area, I'd expect to see this thing like really start to rally then, because that means this is bullish. And after that, this thing is going to at least go up, like I said, to that that weekly, or excuse me, that daily 50 to 100 day period moving average here. We're already starting to play with this. So it all depends on if they can really come in with some good volume to push things up. All right, guys, that's an economy is what you wanted me to go check out. All right, give me a second. Boom. Economy. There we go. Economy tether. Alrighty. Ooh. Oh, sorry. As you can see, I was like, ooh. Let me see what they look like on Boom. Let me see this here real quick.
Boom, chicka bow.
Sorry, I don't mean to be beatboxing in your guys' ear. What am I trying to do? Coin market cap. All right, I'm gonna pop these guys in because I need to see where their base is at. Come on. Do they not have it? Are they not on? They should be. Economy token. It's on ETH. There's the one that have that app for nuts and NFTs. You ever try it? And they have name brands NFTs. I have a bunch of NFTs on their appverse. All right, let me pull these guys up. What is their acronym? ECOMI. Which one is it, brother? Is it the first one? Second one's the same. Is it which one is it? Price not tracked. So I'm assuming it's this one right here. And let me pull out the monthly chart here. Trading view. Let's check out their lows. Okay, so they're definitely below their high or their launch. I am definitely kind of bearish on them, man. Unfortunately, because I mean they can't. Like I already know, because they can't even stay above their 8-period moving average here. And every time they do, there's a major sell-off here. Let me put on something here real quick. Moving averages. Moving averages ribbon. Yeah, again, give me 1 second. 8.
Sorry about that. I've had like 14 different things happen at once here.
Nah, you good, brother. Don't trip. We'll do 50. All right, let's set this up here real quick. All right, so as I'm looking them up right now, look, you can see that they're just struggling, man. And there's not a lot of daily volume coming in, per se. Well, forgive me. There's a million. So there are a lot of tokens being bought and sold. So there is some volume here. So that's a good sign. But as I'm looking at like the actual volume part right here, this big day right here, this candle control right here, it's just not, it's still in this range. So this is, let me put this out here so you can sit there and see this. All right. This is what we need to see for this, bro. It needs to get above or below this to see, because there's either shorters. So this is the candle control right here. So right now it's playing in this range in the yellow. So that's 3068 area to the 3048. And this level here, you can see every time they've kind of hit below it, it's kind of pushed up, right? Boom, boom. So there are stops here that they're trying to push, but whoever is trading this, they're looking to push this lower, because we can't even get above the 8-period sustained with good volume, right? Like good volume above this. Like they were trying, and then it just, people are sitting there shorting it or selling off the token. So this is kind of a sad thing. I don't know what they're doing, but looks like they are a NFT system. I'm thinking they're going to be big in the future. Lower is better for me. I can buy some more. This is a long hold for me. All right, Mr. Tom, entrepreneur. Boom, boom, boom.
Welcome, DV Zambrano.
Yeah.
BTC, BGB, BTC, BitGet, DYOR Media Network.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you. What's his name? Delivery? Zambrana. DV, let us know. Thanks for having us, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming in, bro. We appreciate it. I think you would like it, Pedro. All right, I'll go check it out. I'll go see if it's going to be a long haul. Bring this up again. We'll start to track it. Don't let this slip on me. And we'll pull this. We'll put this on the DYOR wait list. All right, boom. Pop. There we go. And Omi Tether. Let's do this right here. Boom. Go to that daily. Yeah, this is it right here. Yep.
Jesus has added some ETH, buying it at these lower levels.
Yep. I'm glad, guys. Look, I'm expecting ETH to go down a little bit further as well. So we can go over that tomorrow as well. But yeah, I think as it comes down, it's going to be nice. The DYOR watch. We need to add this.
Jesus, correct me if I'm wrong, but you usually play this on your TV in your office, right?
Oh, that is so cool. So you're telling me there's all these people who watch us over there?
I don't think Jesus has that problem. If he had a bunch of people in there, he wouldn't be watching our show. He'd be selling cars. He'd be moving the iron, as they say. Gotta move the iron.
Well, it still feels good to know that there potential are people who'd be like, who's that guy talking there? Who's bringing up charts? Who is he? Who's that guy with who looks all red, who just sounds cool?
There's always an auction going on, Jesus. Even I know that. And I don't mean Concours d'Elegance style auctions. I mean, like, let's get rid of these 20-year-old cars. Take them all.
Take them all. All right. So this is where we're looking to see. We want to see this thing get above up here. But if you're looking to pick up on it, I'm expecting to see a little bit lows, because you can see here we should be seeing higher highs coming in. It's not. We're seeing lower lows, and we're getting in below here. So yeah, I expect lowers here. Potentially that psychological number of 3,000 here. Typically, I might find some support there. But apart from that, it's, I would say pick in at large numbers. So that'd be 3,000 here. That level, the 2,500. If it continues, that 2,000. But it depends on, are the devs selling? Because I mean, if you're saying it's just as good as you're saying what it is, somebody's selling against this. So it's interesting to sit there and see what's actually happening here.
It's always, the devs are always selling in every token. It's the rare one that they don't sell.
Was my first token bought at all-time highs. Ooh. I hope it wasn't for a lot. Look at that, dude. It got all the way up to 80, dude. 2084. It's now 30. It's almost 90+% at its bottom here. Yeah. And what are they, like an open sea type of thing? Haven't looked up for in a while. No smoking money. Oh, dang, man.
Wah, wah, wah. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Currently still doing it with Mainnet Z, if Drano's still listening.
That is funny. All right, my peoples. Boom. It will be okay. Yeah, it will, man. I mean, these guys, if they can get it going, man. I mean, how big is their community? Like thousands? I didn't put the house on this. Good. Yeah, because if so, I met a guy who back in 2017 Bitcoin literally pulled out a loan from his house. He lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, in the area of Cos Cob. If anybody knows what that means that's big money. Like, like world-changing money, right? That the type of money that goes in there. And I was just starting to get into Bitcoin and, understanding it. And so I looked at him, and dude, I remember this dude, older gentleman. He said to me, he goes, I'm 100% into Bitcoin. I was like, that's awesome, man. And I go, where are you looking? He goes, I'm so big into it, man. I mortgaged my house and took out like $200,000 $200,000-$300,000 and put into Bitcoin when it was at 17, bro. Like back in 2017, it was in like maybe October, November, and we saw it go up, then go down, and then that's what I think it went up to. I've told this story now multiple times, but I just every time I think about it, BTC, BTC. I'm just back here. When was this? 2021? Nah, it was right here, man. 2000, like around here. So this would have been maybe like right here, 2019. Maybe it was, I want to say it was right here, maybe February-ish, like around this level. So it would have been like, but I thought it was like 19, not the 8. I think it was like 18 or 19,000. I think it was this area right here. I thought it hit 20,000. USDC. Try this here real quick. Watch list. Boom. Hey Tommy, you there?
I am.
Give me a second. I'm about to finish off here and then we'll be done. You gotta go?
I'm actually working on something for my wife right now.
You're like,
I'm reviewing a contract that she needs to sign.
this was it. Like, yeah, it was like right here. I remember it was 2017. It was like, I think it was up for a couple months. Yeah, it was like right here. 2017, and it was like 20,000. Nah, yeah, it was like this month, dude. I think it was like back in December right here. And yeah, it's just before Christmas. I remember this. So I hope that he got in. I hope he got out because he thought it was going to go to 100K here. I mean, he's like, it's going to go to 100K. And this is when I'm sitting there going like, bro, I don't think it's going to go to 100K. Like, I think it's no, it is. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I may not know what I'm talking about when it comes to like, cryptocurrency, but I know charts. And I'm telling you, like, this isn't going to keep going like this.
Right.
Like,
Nothing can go logarithmic forever except Nvidia stock.
Oh man. But I bet you that guy, once his wife found out, and dude, as it kept selling, and I bet you the way they work, bro, once it got down to the 3,000 area, 2,000 area, his wife was like $200,000, like down the drain, like going from like 17, 18,000 where Bitcoin was at to all the way down to 3,000. Dude, his wife would have been like, you are a dead man. Like, as I wish I could meet that guy again one of these days. Hopefully, if he's not dead from his ex-wife or really upset wife, or actually if he held on to it, she's loving him because at that price point, if he would have bought more here, and then but that's a long road. I mean, from 2017, you're talking that's 7 years, man. I mean, she'd be loving him now. $100,000 at 17. I think it was like 16, 17,000. I would sit there and say to him, like, what is that? No, it's 3x. What is where it would be? I think 1734. About, yeah, almost 3x easily. So 4x. So 200,000 is $800,000 now. It's not bad. It's not a bad push. So what would that be? 2, 4, 600,000 altogether that you would have made.
Woo.
But I mean, over a period of 7 years, that's great, in comparative to the stock market. But sitting there and going through these valleys here, dude, this valley here,
you gotta have balls of steel.
There's no way that there's no way. But if he did, to see it come up to 20,000, or what was it, 60,000 last bull run, and then to sell off again down to 16,000, that just hurts. That just hurts. So I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, we are just jibber jabbering here now. I don't hold a nice stash of Nvidia. I do hold. Oh, nice, Charles. Nice, Doc. That's actually really dope.
And you're still holding it. Oof, man, that's.
Well, it all depends on when you got
the
in
Doc
on
has
it.
balls of steel too.
It all depends on when you got in at, right? If you got in when it was down at like, the low hundreds before they did the 10-to-1 split, you're a happy camper. You're like, dude, like you easily got a cost base from there. Where'd you get in at, Chuck? He's got to get in at the lower part, dude. He's like at the top. He's like, ouch, that hurts. That be hurting. That got me hurting. I'm crying. I'm gonna be weeping all night. Anyways, all right, dudes, guys, it's a pleasure as always. Tom, I've allowed oh no, that was Jesus, all-time high. All right, guys. Tom, any last famous words on your end? Back in that nice, man. 2020, yeah, dude. I think that's even before they went screaming up. They just started back then to really get going. 2020 was here. Nice, dude. Yeah, that is a nice play.
Take profit, leave Moonbag, repeat.
Dude, like, nice, man. Nice. This is something to brag about to your kids when they're like, so daddy, you got into cryptocurrency? And he goes, yes, that was a great play, but I got into Nvidia. You know those guys right now who determine who the president's going to be? Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it, Pedro, but I'm playing the outro music. Listening to little kick tracks by Manila Chill by Kick Tracks.
Dang. Get out of here. It's done. We're done.
Yeah, we're done for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll send the music off to Pedro here. We're done today.
Yeah, we had a 2 hour. Nope, don't hear it. It's all good though. No. I'm good. It is all good. Well, guys, be safe out there in this crypto jungle. Look both ways before you decide to buy a meme coin. But above all else, be safe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, on behalf of Pedro and myself, we've had a great time. Another great show. So glad to have hosted another episode of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. Remember to tell all your friends, get everyone involved, spam the world with our content, help us out so we can bring you more great content. See, I just told everyone to spam. But anyway, once again, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. We'll be around for Full Rant Friday, tomorrow Friday, and Pedro will be running that as usual. So be there. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I missed the button again. Be there.